Welcome back to Watching Business Morning on Sunrise Daily. Let's do look at our investment climate for the month of October now as we begin a new month. Well, we'll start with the NGX, the stock markets. I guess that's predictable. Unfortunately, it does seem like October was a red one for the month because we see as at yesterday, the close of trade, there was a drop in the all share index. But this is for yesterday, this is not for the month. We'll have our guests tell us what the month looked like. And for equities yesterday, we saw there was a drop of over 25 billion naira from the equities cap to close at 59.171. We saw a lot of negative activities around the banking sector. That was also recorded in most weeks, but yesterday it was positive. Consumer goods, industrial goods went down slightly. Insurance was this way and that, and then oil and gas looked good, 1.3% in the green at the close of trade. Yesterday, top trade yesterday, UBA, UACN, and Charms. But let's look bigger, further than this now with Mr. Rotimi Fakayejo joining us virtually. Now, Mr. Fakayejo is the managing director of Greenhouse Business Diagnostic and Analytic Limited, joins us virtually. Mr. Fakayejo, good morning and thank you for your time.
Good morning.
So how would you describe the month for the market, the NGX? Let's start from there.
Well, I think for me, the month is a spectacular one, even given the fact that the month ended negative. And why would I say it was a spectacular one? Because we saw a rebound in the prices of the banking sector stocks. It was very significant. And we also saw other sectors at least adding value. The reason why we are where we are is that Aradel Holdings, which was newly listed in the month on the 14th of October, as its listing, it was listed as 722 Naira. As at the close of business yesterday, it was 495 Naira. It was expected that a new listing will add value to the market, but unfortunately, that is what has brought the market to its knees in the month of October. Otherwise, the market will still have closed positively. Coupled with the fact that we saw a share price loss in the stock of Boa Cement. But if you discount those two stocks, then definitely the month will have ended much better than we did, that we saw. And I think the performance metrics in other aspects also spoke loud of this. We saw good volume being done, good value being done, and also we saw fantastic results being posted in the month of October. So all in all, I believe strongly that this definitely added a lot of value, except for the minus that we saw from Aradel and Boa Cement.
What about the banking sector? One would have thought that because of the recap activities going on, we would see a lot of positive movements around the banking sector. But it didn't seem that way for the month.
Well, I think it did happen because for Access Bank gained about almost 10 to 15% in the month. UBA gained more than 25%. We saw Zenith Bank going up. We also saw GT Co moving from below 50 to above 50 that we are now seeing it. So if you look at Fidelity Bank as well, so if you look globally, if you look at all the stocks in the banking sector put together, they actually added value. And this also is coming out of the fact that the dividend that they paid out, the interim dividend, a lot of investors are very much impressed with those figures. And that is the reason why we are seeing this. So banking sector stocks actually added value to the market in the month of October rather than brought it down. Like I said earlier, it was just basically the share price of Boa Cement and Aradel that actually brought down the markets and made it negative.
Let's look at outside the stock market now, other activities in that sector when we talk about, our banking, our investment environment. We did see, of course, our FDI, but that's the figure we have now is for the second quarter. We saw a drop in our FDI. Talking about foreign participation in the NGX and outside the NGX. Obviously, FDI is outside the NGX. We saw a drop there, a 74.97% drop for the second quarter compared to the year, that's year on year. And then also we saw data from the MBS showing that FDI, of course, there you have it, includes equity and other capital. Most of it came from equity investment, talking about that FDI. Then Henley and Partners shows that other industrial activities also took place, like in agriculture, in logistics, commodities, communications, corporate expansion and new ventures, foreign investment, and all of that. So foreigners also, Nigerians also investing outside the shores. How would you capture the activities or the data that you're privy to for the month of October?
Well, I think for the FDI and the FPI, the lopsided movements of the Naira is still very much of a concern. And the investment climate is not yet clear for most investors that will have actually wanted to come in. We saw a spike in the price of petroleum products, especially PMS, and that also brought in the fear that it might impact negatively on inflation figures. So these are things that actually guided the decisions of investors rather to stay put and watch what comes on from now rather than incur another risk venture again. So I believe strongly that the various capacities with which the federal government is trying to turn around the economy, I believe that things may begin to work better. And one of those things is that the cooperation that between the NNPCL and Dangote refineries, whereby now the Naira-based crude oil is going to start playing out, and we foresee either a stability or a drop in the price of PMS. So if that should happen, then definitely we might see better things coming for us. But for now, I think the investment climate is still very, very cloudy, and no one is actually ready to stake a lot of things.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of intervention from the CBN, talking about the Naira now, the value of the Naira, but it doesn't seem like the Naira performed well in the month of October.
Yes, it didn't, because we expected that with the various interventions put in place, that the Naira, at least, will have started seeing a drop in the exchange rate, but it's still maintaining 1640, 1670 up to very present. So the CBN has to look more inward, and they've put in a lot to ensure that the Naira is stable. But I think, to me, there's still some regulatory framework that needs to be enhanced. Those who are actually pulling back the efforts of the CBN have to be dealt with. And until that happens, CBN's efforts will not be appreciated at all. So with quite a number of operators within the system, we are not seeing enough sanctions being inflicted on them. The moment CBN begins to do that and begin to create a deterrent for those who are actually head-bent on seeing the Naira go further down, I think the earlier the better the CBN begins to do that. And at the same time, again, we've seen situations whereby CBN has done everything possible, but in the meanwhile, those who are head-bent on using the dollar as a store of value while in Nigeria, I believe CBN has to take a critical look at these people and maybe do something that will bring this, that will nip this in the bud.
So why do you think perhaps the CBN seems reluctant? Because, I mean, there's data, there are flow of transactions there, so the CBN can actually trace whoever is supposed to, who is doing something wrong. Why do you think it seems like the CBN is reluctant to take action in that line?
Well, I think, the way it is, when something has been the order of the day, for the banks especially, and in order not to rock the boat all at the same time, there are several things coming to play presently. But I think CBN is just holding back a little to wield the big stick so that the boat is not rocked unnecessarily. But I want to believe that if they can actually come up with more sanctions or effect the existing rules and regulations with which the banks play within the financial markets, I believe that strongly we will get a better result. But I don't think the CBN is weak at all. The CBN is strong enough to wield the big sticks. But what we will say is that they should be encouraged to do that for at least to salvage the efforts that they have been making, so that things don't continue the way we are seeing it.
And what are your thoughts about this latest policy by the central bank that was announced yesterday after the Economic Council meeting, giving Nigerians who are holding dollar outside the financial system 9 months to return it? I mean, what do you do if people? I mean, are you going to go to people's houses to ask or search for dollars? You know, how workable is it? How realistic is it? And so what impacts do we expect at the end of 9 months?
Well, I think the CBN can do a lot. Those who are keeping dollars in their homes are afraid of tomorrow. Either their money stolen or they believe that the Naira is going to dip further. I think what may need to happen is that the CBN, with this that they have said, should ensure that there is no dollar-denominated transaction in Nigeria, either in the five-star hotels, in any supermarket, in whatever transaction. Anyone that is coming to Nigeria should do all transactions in Naira. And I believe that is the only way that our currency can be strengthened. But as long as we still have dollar-denominated transactions within the country, I don't see a way how that policy will actually be able to achieve its purpose.
So we've started a new month now. We have a lot of government policies. I mean, the latest one is this 9-month one. What are your expectations as we get to the end of the year? Talking about FPIs, FDIs, the stock markets, foreign participation there has dropped also. You know, what are your expectations? I mean, people are still complaining of policy somersault, you know, in spite of all of this, you know. So when you put the whole picture together, what do you see for November?
Well, I think maybe to comment quickly on that, and also to commend this present regime. At least for the first time, we are seeing cohesion, some cohesion in the activities of the fiscal authority and also the monetary authority. And I think at this time, I would say that that cooperation should be better enhanced. So before CBN does or makes any pronouncement, or even the Federal Executive Council, they should at least have had robust interactions with each other before going forward. For me, I think for FDIs, I believe that towards the end of the year, we're going to see more FDIs coming in, at least to prove or to add value to the different efforts that the president government is making, and also the policies of the CBN. And at the same time, too, I believe that with the way things are, definitely the equity market is going to get stronger. And we've seen a lot of stability with the relaxed participation of foreign portfolio investors, enhancing stability. But now, this time, if they begin to see more positive things in the market, they definitely will come around and boost the market. But I still see a better performance for the economy as we approach the end of the year, and also a much robust performance for the equity market as we approach the end of the year.
I will believe with you, Mr. Rotimi Fakayejo. Thank you so much for your time. Managing Director of Greenhouse Business Diagnostic and Analytic Limited. Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure.